שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. How good and how pleasant it is that we are here together on this lovely Shabbat evening to pray together. Our service begins tonight on page 120 with the candle lighting blessing, and I would like to invite up Juliet to light the candles for us and say the blessing.
As the Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to those who behold us. As their brightness remind us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you. We continue with Lecha Dodi, inviting in the Sabbath bride on page 138 and 139. As is our custom, we sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we reach verse 9, I invite you, if you're able, to rise and face the door and imagine the Sabbath as a beautiful bride coming into our sacred space, coming down the aisle to join us in our special time. Did my singing wake her up already? Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor vezachor b'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet ve'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki hi mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, kiva orakumi ori, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha uvetzola, toch emunei am segula, boichala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. You may be seated. And now we opened up our souls and our voices with Hine Matov, how good and how pleasant it is to be here together. We've lit our Shabbat candles and welcomed in the Shabbat bride, and we're ready to segue fully into our evening service with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbath, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, bagala, uvizman kariv, ve'imeru amen. Yehesh merabba mevorach, ve'alamu ame amaya, yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, ve'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'ale v'yit'halal, shemei dekudasha b'rechu, leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma ve'imeru amen. On page 146, we prepare ourselves for the call to worship, the Barechu. Yai da da da, yai da 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 da, yai da da da, yai da 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 da da, yai da 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 da da, yai da 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 da. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach, le'olam va'ed, hamevorach, le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. We continue together on page 149. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Where shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Page 150. Ahavat olam bet Yisrael amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbenu uvkumenu nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu ve'orach yameinu uvahem negei yomam v'layla v'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. On pages 152 and 153, we find the Shema, followed by the Ve'ahavta. Please prepare yourself for these words of Torah. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anuchi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uvshachbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiyot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. You may be seated. And we read responsively on page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations shall be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot hosef eleh, nora tehilot hosef eleh. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Ze'eli anu ve'ameru, Ze'eli anu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 160. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, Oti leolam, Oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, La'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, La'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. V'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, La'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. We come now to the central portion of our prayer service. The Amidah begins on page 164 and continues over the next few pages. Please prepare yourself for this set of blessings. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chaste Avod v'Imahot, U'mei Geula livnei v'neihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham mezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol atarav lehoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, mechakel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, Omido melech, melech memit u'mechaye, u'matzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'emanat al hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. You may be seated. We continue together on page 173. Disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency, make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Adonai. Deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of this sanctuary is not the border of the living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levarcha b'yir'ah na'avod. Page 177. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulechana'el lehodot. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol et u'b'chol sha'ah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take a moment now for silent prayer. You might use the words on pages 180 and 181 or the meditations of your own heart. Yehiyu leratzon imrei fi vehegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, v'goali. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, Adonai, our rock and redeemer. We turn our thoughts now to those who are ill or injured or recovering from surgery and in need of our prayers for healing. We have on that list Rosalind Cantu, Lori Perry, Nick Joliot, Rhonda Butler, Ira Dornfeld, Bev Conrad, Adam Manny, Stephen Katz, Rabbi Bernhard Rosenberg, James Palmer, Ann Cohen, Anita Ash, Josiah Miller, Patty Bergeron, Jed Michael, Donna Goldstein, Taliba Hassan, Debbie Rubenstein, Sharonda Statham, Glenn Hoffman, Robin Callahan, Liz Petrie, and Nicholas Duvra. And if anyone else has a name they'd like to add, please do so. Lawrence and Peter Hart, and Rose White. The Mishaberach is on page 371, and we hold in our hearts all those in need of healing of mind, body, and spirit. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu, the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We also pray for the health and safety of all those in our community who are active military duty, first responders, and peacekeepers, those around the world whose jobs are dangerous so that our lives might not be. We have on that list Oni Hinnanen, Joshua Ehrlichman, Martin Brown, Howard Mergler, Kyle Smet, Andrew Booth, Joseph Cald, Pete Abelson, Jeremy Sharkey, Benjamin Hurd, Alexander Furman, Daniel Gilman, Curtis Miller, Ben Farrell, Caleb Menzies, Francis Petraka, Noah Kaplan, Aaron Breeding, Dakota Rollins, Jacob Duvre, Janet Ingraham, Tyler Adcock, Tom Trout Young, and all those in the armed services and on the ships at sea that tune in and watch us from our YouTube channel. May the one who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and our mothers, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, bless those who are serving in our armed services. May God guard them and keep them from harm. If they find themselves in danger's path, may God bring them back whole of mind and body to all those who love them. May it be your will, Adonai Tzevaot, to lead them to safety and to protect them from each and every enemy and ambush. May God make their journey successful and guard their going out and coming in with mercy and love, and let them be blessed to return home with life and peace now and forever. And let us say, Amen. Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion is Parashat Yitro, in which we find the 10 Commandments and Moses learning from his father-in-law how to be a stronger leader through delegating tasks to other potential leaders in the nation. In discussing this parsha with Philip, we got into a bit of a disagreement about the final of the Big 10. I don't disagree with him fundamentally that the prohibition on coveting is silly, because feelings cannot be commanded or controlled like that. And anyway, what's so wrong with wanting something you don't have? But I found his view a bit simplistic and missing the larger picture of what Judaism has to teach us within and from this commandment. First, it should be said that there is no before and after in the Torah. There's clearly some chronological order, generations that follow and generations that come before, but much like the German drama Dark on Netflix, timelines are flexible, and the rabbinic commentaries sometimes insist that things do not happen in quite the order that they are displayed in the text, or that it was necessary for certain events to unfold later in order for others to unfold first. I don't think any of the patriarchs or matriarchs are their own grandparents or anything. Spoiler alert for Dark. But we shouldn't rely too much on these being the first 10 as definitive proof of their inherent priority over the other 603 commandments. So the fact that you shall not covet that which is your neighbor's is in this parsha doesn't mean it's more important than you shall not stand idly by the blood of your neighbor, which comes in the holiness code that we read in the next book, the Tanakh. Further, the word covet is an English word, of course. Tahmud, the Hebrew word used here, seems to have more of an actionable meaning behind the emotional verb. Nearly all of the main commentators, Sforno, Chizkuni, Ibn Ezra, imply that to covet, or tahmud, is to scheme to bring about acquiring that thing for oneself, and not just a similar thing or goal, a donkey or a house or a wife, but specifically, precisely your neighbor's, perhaps to the point of committing murder in order to single white female your neighbor. Jeffrey Tigay of the Jewish Study Bible says some view this as an ethical exhortation to master the kinds of impulses that would lead to the violation of the preceding commandments. The Hebrew verb sometimes refers to having designs on a desired object, perhaps even to scheming or maneuvering to acquire it. Hence, the sense could be, do not scheme to acquire. So it may be one thing to hope one day to have nice things, a beautiful family, a thriving homestead for yourself, but to covet someone else's life is a dangerous business. And finally, even if it was as basic and unfulfillable, really, as some people may think it is, that covet simply means desire. Is it really so wrong to try to teach us to just be satisfied with our own lot in life? Philip was right, of course, in insisting to me that if someone has no home and they covet a home, those of us with homes should not view that as sinful. But I don't think that that is the intended audience for this exhortation toward gratitude. The divine creator created an abundant earth, and it is only human greed and short-sightedness that leads to the widespread discrepancies of the haves and have-nots in our society. So to covet the basic necessities of life is not to show dissatisfaction with the lot in life God has given. Rather, it displays a proper response to human injustice and a perversion of the division of land that God promised, more or less, alongside this commandment to not covet. However, for those who do have a home, reasonable privacy, enough to eat, and other needs met to be able to live with dignity, to covet the bigger house or the better toys of others, to desire someone who has made their unavailability to you clear, whether due to another relationship or simply disinterest, that is what drives greed and envy. That is what places a wedge between ourselves and gratitude, pushes us further from the divine presence and from inner peace. This Shabbat and onward, let us focus on the positive, appreciate what we have, and seek deeper connections with each other and with the divine. May we turn away from feelings of envy and greed, and may we feel at home with ourselves. Amen and Shabbat Shalom. We turn now toward our concluding prayers. Julia, I'd like to invite you back up to open the ark with me for the Aleinu. This is what you get for sitting in the front row. Please prepare yourselves for the ark to be opened. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lated gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kagoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, vigor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד. Ushemo echad. Thank you. You may be seated. And now we turn our thoughts to those who are no longer with us in body, but remain with us in spirit. This week marks a yahrzeit for Pearl Lefferson, Arnold Mullins, Abraham Datner, Irene Boer, Emmanuel Thaler, Betty Kaufman, and Estelle Wattenmaker. And we are still within the year of mourning for Jack Schuber, Aaron Scanlon, Lieutenant Colonel Stanley Heath, Mary Kennedy, Minna Dornfeld, Numaita Enol Dopash, Arlene Annunziata, Linda Gaynor Perry, Sam Mergler, Tom Lonergan, Harvey Lehman, and Anna Schatz. If anyone else has a name they'd like to add at this time, please do so. Yeah, in the earthquake. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Mourners and those who wish to join them may rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayachon uv'yomachon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olalmei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei tekudesha b'rechu ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shalom Rabbah min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. You may be seated. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru, amen. A few announcements before we close. Tomorrow, first I'm going to go in chronological order. Tomorrow is our monthly meditation walk. It will be at Blooms Park this month, which is paved. So it should be wheelchair and stroller accessible. So if you haven't joined before, this month is a great time to start. 10 a.m., right, at Blooms Park in Manassas Park. Sunday, there is religious school in the morning, and at 1 o'clock, the 20-somethings are hosting a D&D for all who want to join. I've never played before. I've gotten a lot of asks about, can beginners come? I sure hope so, because I have no idea what I'm doing. But that's okay, because I'm not in charge. One of the 20-somethings is dungeon mastering for us. So, so it should be fun. And then, let's see. Coming up, book club meets the last Wednesday of every month. We are currently reading Then She Found Me by Eleanor Littman. Adult Ed is starting again in March, so stay tuned for more information about that. And Purim will be here surprisingly soon. So if you are willing to be in our Purim spiel, you don't have to be a good actor. You don't have to do anything. If you're just a willing person, we would love to have you. So if that is you, please reach out to myself or to Melody, our treasurer, who is writing our Purim Spiel, a parody on the Breakfast Club. We're going 80s theme. This is 5783. I want to see everybody's neon leg warmers and big scrunchies and everything for Purim this year, okay? All right, I think that's everything. Did I miss? Oh, and game night, third Thursday of the month, party games this month. It's Era's birthday. So we're having a big old birthday party, basically, of party games for Era. Okay, I think that's everything. Did I miss anything? Mahjong is Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Every other Wednesday, right? First and third Wednesday. Okay. Okay. Great. Woohoo! We did it. Woo! What an exciting place to be, that there are so many things to remember. All right, our closing song will be Shalom Aleichem on page 627. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seidchem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us for a little Kiddush and Oneg.